Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Our group presentation will be the challenge and opportunity of Islamic banking and financial institution in Malaysia. Firstly, we introduce about the Islamic banking in Malaysia, which refers to a banking system or activity that adheres to the Sharia principle which prohibiting riba in their transaction. Islamic banking in Malaysia use the profit-sharing concepts and invest in real assets only. Although Islamic finance growth promise lots of new potential advantages, there are also some challenges that they need to go through.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so next, we will talk about the challenge that faced by Islamic banking and Islamic financial institution in Malaysia. So, first challenge is about the misconception about Islamic finance and a lack of awareness. So, some people have misunderstood about the concept of Islamic financial institutions. And according to the Asif Han, Masif Shahzad and Aftif Hans from one of the journals, only a small percentage of Muslims are aware of Islamic banking operations. And also, at the same time, for non-Muslim, they also did not have a clear understanding of the Islamic finance cultures. As for Muslims, they had to differentiate between the operation and process of Islamic banking and conventional bankings. And meanwhile, for non-Muslim, they were uncertain or did not sure whether the future potential of Islamic banking products and development of Islamic banking would bring them to a better life or not. So this issue also may occur due to the lack of public information of Islamic banking knowledge and news, as little has been widely and openly published about the future possibility of Islamic banking product and service. So as a result, discarding this issue will make it impossible for Islamic financial institutions to compete with conventional banking institutions. So therefore, for all peoples in Malaysia to understand the difference between conventional and Islamic bankings, public educations and campaigns are required to expose them to all the information regarding how Islamic banking operations, products, and also benefits from preferring Islamic financial institution over conventional banking institutions. So we believe that a good perception and high understanding of Islamic banking operation, Islamic financial institution operations, it will help Islamic banking and Islamic financial institutions to improve their long-term survival in banking sector and get high demands for their Islamic banking products. So that's all about the first challenge.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Afi Bizafata, matric number 1190842. Another challenge faced by Islamic banking and financial institution in Malaysia is the concentrate banking. That means limited risk management functionality that available for financing. We've heard that Islamic banks only allocated their cash or assets within a few specific industries to stay out of direct rivalry with other financial institutions like commercial banks. If the sector suffers a decline, Islamic banks will struggle to retain their funding as their exposure to risk and cyclical shocks is more significant. Moreover, that Islamic financial markets have not established any effective risk transfer mechanism and are unable to hedge their risk while already exposed to credit, market, and operational risk. Another risk of Islamic banking is displacement risk. That means loss of depositors when Islamic financial institution pays its investment depositors a higher rate of return than what would be required under the actual terms of the investment contract. It will reduce their capital. Furthermore, an Islamic bank is at risk of operating errors and financial losses due to the inadequate internal control mechanism. Additionally, Islamic banks have crucial governance concerns that will directly impact the institution economic growth and the institution investors, regulators and stakeholders. To conclude, risk management issues in Islamic financial institutions demand considerable attention since certain risks are developed due to the nature of Islamic financial institutions that are related to Sharia compliant Islamic contracts and business model. A scholar said that when evaluating this institution risk management system, it is necessary to gain an understanding of some of these risks by reviewing the various elements on their asset and liability sides of their balance sheets. Therefore, risk management in Islamic financial institution requires a detailed investigation of the risk sources. Thank you.
Now we move to the legal challenge that faced by Islamic banking and financial institutions in Malaysia. Did you know that Islamic banking system courts are the same legal system with the conventional one? In Malaysia, they have more than 91% of Malaysians are multi-banker. The government was set up the Muamalat Bench as the litigation process that will resolve the entire dispute regarding the underlying contract. Now we move to the legal challenge that faced by Islamic banking and financial institutions in Malaysia. Did you know that Islamic banking system courts are the same legal system with the conventional one? The second legal challenge is extra costs and effort are required when Islamic banking is absent in a court. Most of the banking and companies law will require modification to ensure that the consistency of level Islam banking in the country. Malaysia is the one only country making strong effort in this manner. Recently passes the Islamic Financial Service Act 2013, which established new Islamic banking rules and regulations. Furthermore, Islamic financial contract will be accepted on international acceptance when the Sharia ruling are compatible with the major legal regimes such as common law and civil law. Now we move to the next legal challenge that did you know that musyarakah and mudarabah followed by the profit and loss system were used in Islamic system. The concept of profit loss system also is an enterprise. A progressive basis for financial transaction distinguishes good performance from bad and mediocre performance. If something happened to the like suffering to loss, the depositor should be provided with the protection because this loss is the biggest barrier of the mobilization on Islamic banks and sometimes it leads to withdrawal of funds. The fact remains that there are some features of Islamic banking such as moral hazard, prevention of systemic crisis, and protecting demand depositors' interest, which requires a similar degree of prudential regulation and supervision as conventional banking system.
My name is Muhammad Firdaus Mesyafuddin, metric number 1190863. Next, we move to the opportunities of Islamic banking and financial institutions in Malaysia. Firstly, rise of entrepreneurship. Starting with the first trend of entrepreneurship increase around the world, we can see that more small business and newly established companies covering about 90% of business and over 50% of jobs worldwide. This small and medium enterprise, which called as SME, is a contributor to employment opportunities in Malaysia as well as helping to develop the country's economy, especially in the financial crisis situation. Unfortunately, SMEs are difficult in terms of access to the financing, especially for SMEs that is just getting started. If we look at the side of financing in Malaysia, it can be said there are only about 14% of the total financing issued by Islamic bank to the SMEs in Malaysia. It is clear that SMEs are the untapped market segment that should be utilized by Islamic banks preferably. The Islamic banks in Malaysia can use value-based intermediation (VBI) in order to help SMEs and those who want to start or grow the business. VBI provides greater encouragement from Islamic banks in assisting entrepreneurial activities through incentives such as financings and good support. Under VBI, Islamic banks can attract SMEs' interest through understanding and concern for their needs. The assessment of financial application should also be made on the basis of value creation potential and not tied to credit score alone. Thus, it will be able to provide opportunities for potential business to thrive. In short, the Islamic bank must meet the need of this market segment because this market segment is not fully served by the banking and financial institutions in Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Dini Syaikal bin Azman. My matric number is 1190877. Next, we move to the second opportunity of Islamic banking and financial institution in Malaysia, which is advantage to the investor. There is significant association between financial institution and depositor in Islamic banks on the liability side, while on the asset side, it transfers to financial institution and their borrowers. The beauty of the Islamic banking system is that no participant endures an equal systematic shock. One of the fundamental requirements in Islamic form of intermediation is that financial transaction must be supported by the real economic activity. This requirement ensures the financial stability in general. Second, financial innovation in Islamic finance must be within the Sharia parameters and tested against the maqasid al-Sharia. Unnecessary financial engineering led to financial instability in global financial crisis in year 2008. Sale of debt against debt is not allowed in Islamic commercial law. It also helps in the realization of benefit to the people. Next, about the equitable aspect of distribution in the absence in interest-based financing may either exploit the debt holder or the financier that can be explained both parties did not have advantage instead of profit and must follow Sharia compliance. We move to the next opportunity, which is a lot about the ideal banking system. To create circumstances suitable for the development of Islamic banking, the banking system should begin with developing an ideal Islamic banking concept. The explanation for how such an idea can be established are provided, which is the objective is to build a system that can support the establishment of double tayyib mudarabah banking by utilizing project finance and asset securitization scheme typical and conventional banking. However, Islamic banking is a subset of the broader nation of Islamic economic, which strives to incorporate the Islamic value system and ethics into the economic arena. The development of Miri Sharia justification for a restricted scope of application, which is some conventional technique. Based on internet, the Islamic banking can be elaborated as a system of banking which provides just financing, which is free from the factors unlawful to Islam and offers benefit to not to only the shareholders of the bank, but also to the stakeholders. The Islamic banking should avoid the potential huge division between real asset and reliability, which may be translated into a profit and loss sharing.
Lastly, we move to the conclusion. In line with the advancements and development of countries nowadays, Islamic banking and financial institution is an organization that contributes a lot to the development of the country. There are three challenges and three opportunities of Islamic banking and financial institution in Malaysia that has been discussed. The three challenges is lack of awareness, concentrated banking, which is limited risk management functionality, and legal challenge. The three opportunities is rise of entrepreneurship, advantage of Islamic banking system as an opportunity for investors, and the ideal banking system. Last but not least, as a result of the analysis made in challenge and opportunities, it will be able to help Islamic banking and financial institutions to improve the shortcomings as well as venture into the new opportunities that exist. Challenge and opportunities are important things that need to be analyzed by Islamic banking and financial institutions in Malaysia to remain competitive in the market. That's all from us. Thank you for watching our video presentation. Assalamualaikum.